Let's see the fucking rebuttal. Because it was a snooze fest. Bernie also did his own rebuttal. Because that is constantly what he does every single time one of these fucking dumbass State of the Union addresses happen. Bernie does his own. But we're going to start with Slotkins. Because there's stuff you can talk about there. Let's go. Hello. Hello, Governor.
Hi, everyone. I'm Alyssa Slotkin. I'm honored to have the opportunity to speak tonight. It's late, so I promise to be a lot shorter than what you just watched. I won't take it personally if you've never heard of me. I'm the new senator from the great state of Michigan, where I grew up. I've been in public service my entire life because I happened to be in New York City on 9/11 when the Twin Towers came down. Before the smoke cleared, I knew I wanted to make a life in national security. I was recruited by the CIA and did 3 tours in Iraq alongside the military. In between, I worked at the White House under President Bush.
I love working for the CIA.
And President Obama, 2 very different leaders who both believed that America is exceptional. You can find that same sense of patriotism here in Wyandotte, Michigan, where I'm speaking from tonight. It's a working class town just south of Detroit. President Trump and I both won here in November. It might not seem like it, but plenty of places like this still exist across the United States. Places where people believe that if you work hard and play by the rules, you should do well and your kids should do better. It reminds me of how I grew up. My dad was a lifelong Republican, my mom a lifelong Democrat. But it was never a big deal because we had shared values that were bigger than any one party. We just went through another fraught election season. Americans made it clear that prices are too high and that the government needs to be more responsive to their needs. America.
So far, I'm going to tell you right now, this isn't going to work. This is going to be is super super ineffective. People want some like firebrand. We're getting like fucking some dipshit CIA operative or former fucking CIA operative who's a fucking neocon. Great, fantastic. Did tours in Iraq? Man, people sure do fondly remember Iraq, don't we? We love Iraq. This is the main person the Democrats are putting on. A fucking neoconservative. Fantastic. Because again, that's the party. Dead fucking party, fundamentally speaking.
America wants change, but there's a responsible way to make change and a reckless way. And we can make that change without forgetting who we are as a country and as a democracy. So that's what I'm going to lay out tonight.
Yeah, sure,
Because
man.
whether you're from Wyandotte or Wichita, most Americans share 3 core beliefs. That the middle class is the engine of our country, that strong national security protects us from harm.
See, every time it's always mentions of the fucking middle class. And the mentioning only of the middle class is a fucking teller that they do not care about class issues. That it doesn't fucking matter to them. Because if they would have, because it's not the middle class that are having problems. They're having their own problems. The main people who are having the problems are the fucking impoverished people, the lower classes, people who are making like less than 40 grand a fucking year. They can't afford fucking anything. But we're talking about the middle class here? What? They're also struggling as well, without a doubt. They're not the main problems. They're not the people who are having the main fucking problem. It's not people making over like $60,000 to $70,000 a year. It's the people who are making 40 grand and less. Those are the main people that you should be focusing on. But again, we're not going to get that because dead party. They don't know how to fucking signal or message to anything.
And that our democracy, no matter how messy, is unparalleled and worth fighting for. Let's start with the economy. Michigan literally invented the middle class, the revolutionary idea that you could work at an auto plant and afford the car you were building. That's the American dream. And in order to expand and protect the middle class, we have to do a few basic things. We need to bring down the price of things we spend the most money on: groceries, housing, healthcare.
We love the fact that we're talking about the American dream, even though broadly speaking, everyone already understands that shit's fucking dead. We gotta keep bringing it up, folks. It's very important that we keep bringing up the middle class. We love the middle class.
We need to make more things in America with good-paying union jobs and bring our supply chains back home from places like China. We need to give American businesses the certainty they need to invest and create the jobs of the future. And we need a tax system that's fair for people who don't happen to make $1 billion. Look, the president talked a big game on the economy, but it's always important to read the fine print. So, do his plans actually help Americans get ahead? Not even close. President Trump is trying to deliver an unprecedented giveaway to his billionaire friends. He's on the hunt to find trillions of dollars to pass along to the wealthiest in America. And to do that, he's going to make you pay in every part of your life. Grocery and home prices are going up, not down, and he hasn't laid out a credible plan to deal with either of those. His tariffs on allies like Canada will raise prices on energy, lumber.
Can we be like specific? Like, what is he doing exactly? I feel like that would be very valuable. That's just, you know, if you could outline exactly what the president is doing, that would be pretty great. I feel like there could be some things you could be looking at. Like that chart that I looked at earlier. Perhaps I should bring it back up. Hello, chart that I mentioned earlier. Trump's tax proposals cut taxes for the richest 5%. Bring up specific fucking numbers. Bring it up. Say what they are. But you're not going to say them, are you?
And cars, and start a trade war that will hurt manufacturing and farmers. Your premiums and prescriptions will cost more because the math on his proposals doesn't work without going after your health care. Meanwhile, for those keeping score, the national debt is going up, not down. And if he's not careful,
man, because people really care about the national debt right now.
Plan, he could very well come after your retirement. The Social Security, Medicare, and VA benefits you worked your whole life to earn. The president claims he won't, but Elon Musk just called Social Security the biggest Ponzi scheme of all time. While we're on the subject of Elon Musk, is there anyone in America who is comfortable with him and his gang of 20-year-olds using their own computer servers to poke through your tax return, your health information, and your bank accounts? No oversight, no protections against cyber attack, no guardrails on what they do with your private data. We need a more efficient government. You want to cut waste? I'll help you do it.
There's a reason why, by the way, that's not going to be an effective talking point. Because broadly speaking, most Americans already know that they're being spied on by their own fucking government. People know about the Patriot Act. Like, this is just, it's ineffective. It doesn't fucking matter.
But change doesn't need to be chaotic or make us less safe. The mindless firing of people who work to protect our nuclear weapons, keep our planes from crashing, and conduct the research that finds the cure for cancer, only to rehire them 2 days later? No CEO in America could do that without being summarily fired. Okay, so we talked about economic security. How about national security? Let's start with the border. As someone who spent my whole career protecting our homeland,
oh man, the
border.
border.
Who and what is coming across its border? Period. Democrats and Republicans should all be for that. But securing the border without actually fixing our broken immigration system is dealing with the symptom and not the disease. America is a nation of immigrants. We need a functional system key to the needs of our economy that allows vetted people to come and work here legally. So I look forward to the president's plan on that. Because here's the thing. Today's world is deeply interconnected. Migration, cyber threats, AI, environmental destruction, terrorism.
We love talking about a fucking goddamn problem that like why would you love to hear the fucking president's thoughts on that? Like why? Why would you like to hear that? He's the one who caused the fucking problems to begin with. All of these fucking issues that you keep bringing up, he's caused them. So why are you saying you would love to hear about Trump's proposals for fucking why would you say you would love to hear his fucking proposals on what he's going to do about the about immigration? We already know he's just going to deport people. He's made that pretty fucking clear. Like what are we doing here?
One nation cannot face these issues alone. We need friends in all corners, and our safety depends on it. President Trump loves to say peace through strength. That's actually a line he stole from Ronald Reagan. But let me tell you, after the spectacle that just took place in the Oval Office last week, Reagan must be rolling in his grave. We all want an end to the...
Why are we bringing up Reagan? Everyone fucking hates Reagan. No one fucking likes him. Really? Reagan.
war in Ukraine. But Reagan understood that true strength required America to combine our military and economic might with moral clarity. And that scene in the Oval Office wasn't just a bad episode of reality TV. It summed up Trump's whole approach to the world. He believes in cozying up to dictators like Vladimir Putin and kicking our friends like the Canadians in the teeth. He sees American leadership as merely a series of real estate transactions. As a Cold War kid, I'm thankful it was Reagan and not Trump in office in the 1980s. Trump would have lost us the Cold War. Donald Trump's actions suggest that...
Jesus Christ. Neoconservatism. Woo! I love neocons. I love the neocons. They're my favorite people. My favorite sets of people. Because it makes me... Dude, if this is like literally the rhetorical fucking sort of plan that the Democrats are going to have in like 2028, they're going to lose in 2028. Like, this is not it, by the way. The fucking 3 people that they're trying to appeal to, they already fucking got in their party, and it's only 3 people. And meanwhile, they're alienating like 50 trillion other fucking people. Like, who is this meant to appeal to? Who is this meant to resonate with? Speaking about like fucking Ronald Reagan. Most people fucking hate Ronald Reagan. They hate that guy for good fucking reasons.
That in his heart, he doesn't believe we're an exceptional nation. He clearly doesn't think we should lead the world. Look, America is not perfect, but I stand with the majority of Americans who believe we are still exceptional, unparalleled. And I would rather have American leadership over Chinese or Russian leadership any day of the week. Because for generations, America has offered something better. Our security and our prosperity, yes, but our democracy, our very system of government, has been the aspiration of the world. And right now,
sure is better in America.
It's a risk when the president decides you can pick and choose what rules you want to follow, when he ignores court orders and the Constitution itself, or when elected leaders stand by and just let it happen. But it's also at risk when the president pits Americans against each other, when he demonizes those who are different and tells certain people they shouldn't be included. Because America is not just a patch of land between 2 oceans. We are more than that. Generations have fought and died to secure the fundamental rights that define us. Those rights and the fight for them make us who we are. We're a nation of strivers, risk takers, innovators, and we are never satisfied. Man. That is America's superpower. And look, I've lived and worked in many countries. I've seen democracies flicker out. I've seen what life is like when a government is rigged. You can't open a business without paying off a corrupt official. You can't criticize the guys in charge without getting a knock at the door in the middle of the night.
Yeah, because definitely that's the main thing that fucking Americans are concerned about nowadays. Sure, man. Like, again, I've already said this. Who is this supposed to appeal to? Who? Who feels good about listening to what's being said here by Swatkin? This is all fucking neoconservative fucking talking points. It's just... Dead party. This is their fucking main responder. This is awful.
As much as we need to make our government more responsive to our lives today, don't for one moment fool yourself that democracy isn't precious and worth saving. But how do we actually do that? I know a lot of you have been asking that question. First, don't tune out. It's easy to be exhausted, but America needs you now more than ever. If previous generations had not fought for this democracy, where would we be today? Second, hold your elected officials, including me, accountable. Watch how they're voting. Go to town halls and demand they take action. That's as American as apple pie. Third, organize. Pick just one issue you're passionate about and engage. And doom scrolling doesn't count. Join a group that cares about your issue and act. And if you can't find one, start one. Some of the most important
Here's the thing. What she's saying here isn't incorrect. I agree with all this stuff. But it rings hollow coming from, well, a neocon. From a dead fucking party. It rings hollow. It's meaningless.
Our history have come from the bottom up. In closing, we all know that our country is going through something right now. We're not sure what the next day is going to hold, let alone the next decade. But this isn't the first time we've experienced significant and tumultuous change as a country. I'm a student of history, and we've gone through periods of political instability before. And ultimately, we've chosen to keep changing this country for the better. But every single time, we've only gotten through those moments because of two things: engaged citizens and principled leaders. Engaged citizens who do a little bit more than they're used to doing to fight for the things that they care about, and principled leaders who are ready to receive the ball and do something about it. So thank you tonight for caring about your country. Just by watching, you qualify as engaged citizens. And I promise that I and my fellow Democrats will do everything in our power to be the principled leaders that you deserve. Good night, everyone.
Honestly, yeah. Dog shit fucking response. Because everyone really wants to know about, like, so what would Ronald Reagan think of what's going on right now? Sure, that's exactly. This is actually just like, oh my god, it's so fucking cooked. There's a reason why. By the way, Bernie Sanders.
We are living.
He did a fucking response as well. And he live streamed this. You want to know how many concurrent viewers he had? 91,000 live concurrent viewers. I wonder why. Oh, because, again, you want to know who actually cares about populist fervor, populist left-leaning policy? It's this motherfucking guy right here. Which is why this motherfucker rings completely fucking hollow, while everyone believes this motherfucker.
In a pivotal moment
What's he got to say?
Country's history, facing unprecedented challenges. How we respond to this moment will impact not only our lives,
What do you got?
but the lives of our
What do you
kids
got,
and
Big
grandchildren,
Burn?
and in terms of climate change, the very health and well-being of the planet. As you heard tonight, President Trump has been very effective in creating what I would call a parallel universe for his supporters.
True.
A set of ideas that either have no basis in reality or in the great scheme of things are nowhere near the most important concerns of the American people. And one way that he does that is through the concept of the big lie, and boy, did we hear that tonight. You say something that is grossly false, say it over and over again, and have right-wing social media blast it out endless times until people actually believe it.
True.
And then, rather than address the real issues facing the American people, the struggles that the American people are facing, we find ourselves wasting endless amounts of time discussing Trump's absurdities. Let me just give you a
Notice how immediately he points out the main fucking problems. Because he is correct. Conservatives, they don't give a shit about anything. They just want to push their stupid, dumb fuck agenda and just say a bunch of shit to distract you. And I've been harping on this point constantly recently. Conservatives, they don't give two fundamental shits about anything besides pushing out a bunch of stupid propaganda and having talking heads just needlessly fucking regurgitated. And Bernie Sanders talks about that. Like, guys, like, this is all a distraction. It's all a fucking psyop. People are just saying shit. And he says it immediately, points it out instantly, without even a question. You're never going to get something like that from the Democrats.
very few examples. Trump claimed that the 2020 election was stolen from him and that he won by a landslide. Remember that? A lie. Trump claimed that the January 6th insurrection was a day of love. A lie. Trump has claimed that millions of undocumented people voted and do vote in American elections. A lie. Trump has claimed that climate change is a hoax originating in China. A lie. Trump has claimed that Ukraine started the horrific war with Russia. A lie. And tonight, just tonight, Trump claimed that millions of dead people between the ages of 100 and 360 were collecting Social Security checks. And that is an outrageous lie intended to lay the groundwork for cuts to Social Security and dismantling the most successful.
This is fan-fucking-tastic. Did Slotkin fucking talk about this? Not really. She wasn't very specific about it. And I also talked about it, debunking the stupid fucking lie. Because it's just that is what it exactly is. A dumb fucking lie. As an excuse in order to do horrible fucking shit to Social Security. Fucking Mima and Peepaw are not going to be very happy when their Social Security checks. By the way, it's already starting to be affected. The rate of their fucking checks coming in. Just you wait until your fucking grandparents start going to fucking out on the street because they're too impoverished to be able to fucking afford their afford their fucking rent. And she went until that starts happening. That's when real wacky shit's probably going to start happening.
In popular government program in history. So let's be clear about that. Well over 99% of Social Security checks are going out to people who earned those checks. 70 million Americans. Nobody who was 150 years old or 200 years old or 300 years old is receiving Social Security checks. And on the lies go. Now, the purpose of all of this lying is not just to push his hateful right-wing ideology. It is not just to try to divide us up. It is more than that. It is a masterful effort, and you saw that tonight, to deflect attention away from the most important issues facing the people of our country. Issues that Trump and his billionaire friends do not want to address because it is not in their financial interests to do so. Trump gave his State of the Union speech tonight.
Like, he instantly is pointing out the main fucking problems. Slotkin did not do that at all. Because, again, stupid neocon, who fundamentally probably does agree with a lot of the economic stuff that fucking Trump is pushing for, just doesn't like the fact that he's so uncivil about it. But Bernie, always on his fucking shit, points out the problem instantly.
But if you listen closely, that speech had very little to say about the State of the Union, about what is really going on in our country, especially for working families.
True.
Trump spoke for over 90 minutes, well, I must confess it seemed a lot longer than that, and he almost completely ignored the issues that are keeping working people up at night as they worry about how their families are going to survive in these very tough times. And I will tell you exactly why Trump had very little to say about the real crises facing the working class of this country. Think back 6 weeks ago when Trump was inaugurated for his second term as president, just 6 weeks ago. Standing right behind him were the three wealthiest men in this country, Mr. Musk, Mr. Bezos, and Mr. Zuckerberg. And standing behind them
instantly points out the problems.
Who Trump had nominated to head major government agencies. Many of the same billionaires, including Musk, were in the Capitol tonight listening to that speech. In other words, it is there for all to see. The Trump administration is not hiding it. The Trump administration is a government of the billionaire class, by the billionaire class, and for the billionaire class. Notwithstanding.
See, this is why Bernie is as good at what he does as he is. He always instantaneously points out the fucking problems. No fucking issue whatsoever. Always. And, you know, did Slotkin do any of that? Did she talk about, like, you know, Jeff Bezos or fucking Mark Zuckerberg or Elon Musk being at the inauguration, laying it quite threadbare and clear as to what the fucking problem is? No, there's no talk of that at all.
Some of their rhetoric. This is a government that could care less about ordinary Americans and the working families of our country. My friends, we are no longer moving toward oligarchy. We are living in an oligarchic society. Now let's take a moment and try to escape from Trump's parallel universe, the universe that you heard tonight.
Sure.
Let's do something really, really radical. Let's actually take a hard look at the problems that Americans are facing. Today, 60% of Americans are living paycheck to paycheck. Unlike Trump, I grew up in a family that lived paycheck to paycheck, and I know something about that reality. It means that every day, millions of Americans worry about how they're going to pay their rent, pay for childcare, pay for a doctor's visit when they get sick. They worry about what happens when their car breaks down and they can't afford the $1,000 it costs to get it fixed, and what happens when they can't get to work because they don't have a car. They worry about how they can afford to buy healthy food for their kids when the price of food is off the charts.
And Bernie, this is just the standard Bernie stump at this point. Always just constantly talking about, like, here's the problems, this is the problem, here's all the stats, blah, blah, blah. I'm going to keep, like, hammering this home over and over and over again because everyone, broadly speaking, we all know what the fucking problems are, and we know who's fucking causing them. The problem is one party will never talk about it because they know it's bad to talk about, and the other one will just, like, kind of go like, la, 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 I don't really know. Like, I hear there's problems. Yeah, maybe we'll do, like, some stuff about it, but we're never going to be, like, too explicit about it. But Bernie Sanders, of course, as always on his fucking shit, will talk about it instantly and say, like, this is quite clearly the problem. It's the billionaires. It's the fucking rich. It's the robber barons. They're the ones who are making life worse for you.
Trump speaking for 90 minutes tonight, I didn't hear one word from him about the economic reality facing 60% of our people, or the enormous stress that they are living under. 90-minute speech, not one word about the economic reality facing American workers. But that's not all. Today in America, everyone knows that our healthcare system is broken. It is dysfunctional, and it is outrageously expensive. We remain the only wealthy nation on earth not to guarantee healthcare for all. Mr. President, you really want to make America great again? Then make sure that every American, regardless of income, can go to a doctor or a hospital and not worry about how they're going to pay the bills. President Trump, healthcare is a human right. I didn't hear one word from you, not one word, over 90 minute speech, not one word from you about the healthcare crisis that
That's
is
true.
impacting many, many
He's
millions of
spitting right
Americans.
now.
Nor did I hear you say why we pay by far the highest prices in the world for prescription drugs, sometimes 10 times more than the people in other countries. And why one out
And
of four
keep in mind, he literally just made drugs instantaneously more expensive by removing the ability for Medicare to be able to do, negotiations for drugs. Something I mentioned earlier.
Americans are unable to afford the prescriptions their doctors prescribe. Not one word about the outrageously high cost of prescription drugs. Mr. President, we have nearly 800,000 Americans who are homeless. Over 20 million of our people spend more than half of their limited income on housing. We have a major housing crisis in America. Everyone knows it, apparently except you. Because in your speech tonight,
True.
I didn't hear you mention
Didn't
the
mention
housing
it.
crisis. Today in America, we have more income and wealth inequality than we've ever had. 3 richest people in America, the folks Trump invited to stand behind him at his inauguration, now own more wealth than the bottom half of our society, 170 million Americans. Did anyone out there hear one word from the President of the United States on that enormously important issue?
So again, like, the reason why I'm playing this is it should lay threadbare. This is how you do the correct response. There's a reason why this man had 91,000 concurrent viewers when he was giving out this stump speech. There's a fucking reason. Broadly speaking, the constituencies know. He knows. The Democrats, they don't fucking know, or they might know, but they don't really care. And the Republicans, they know what the problems are. They actively choose to exacerbate them and make them worse. Because again, they hate you. All of these people fucking hate you. And I've been constantly saying this exact same rhetoric of the Democrats, completely dead, uninteresting, fundamentally, who gives a fuck about that party? They are a dead party. Anything they do and say is completely fucking irrelevant. Because again, they snub people like this, but promote people like this. Dead party. This is not the solution to the problems. More neoconservatism. More tweaking around the edges. No. What people want is fundamental, radical change. A New Deal, if you may. The Green New Deal, which would have done that. But of course, any fucking leftward shift has to be instantaneously snubbed by the Democrats because, again, it fundamentally threatens their own corporate backers. There's 2 fucking corporate parties in the United States of America, and both of them fucking hate you.
Which gets to the very fabric of our society. So few owning so much, while so many people suffer. And here's something else the President forgot to discuss. Not only is our life expectancy 4 years lower than other wealthy countries, the bottom 50% in this country, the working class of America, on average, live 7 years shorter lives than the top 1%. Got that? In other words,
literally, the fucking life expectancy in the U.S. went down as a result of COVID. Is crazy.
being poor or working class in this country today,
Richest country on earth.
Did you hear any discussion tonight as to why so many of our people are living shorter lives than they should?
Nope.
During his speech tonight, Trump did not have one word to say about how we are going to address the planetary crisis of climate change. The last 10 years, as most Americans know, have been the warmest ever recorded, and extreme weather disturbances and natural disasters have been taking place all over the world, from California to India, across Europe to North Carolina. And yet, not surprisingly, Trump had nothing to say about climate change except, I guess, drill, baby, drill. Well, that's going to help a whole lot. And let's be clear. Not only did Trump fail to talk about some of the most important issues facing the working class of America, but the solutions, in quote, he proposed would only make a bad situation even worse. Yep, I did hear Trump talk tonight about some tax breaks for working families in terms of not taxing tips, not taxing Social Security, and not taxing overtime. Fine. But that is chump change compared to the benefits he's going to give to the 1%. And it doesn't tell the whole story about his tax policies.
Yep, let's bring up the fucking chart again. Hey, hello, this nice little chart here. And these are the recent fucking proposals that were put up by Trump. That 4.5 trillion tax cut. Yeah, that's what this is. That's what this is for right here. This shit, this is its effect that it's going to have. Notice how top 5%, they're getting a nice chunky, nice big old fucking tax break. Meanwhile, everyone else having to pay more in fucking taxes.
According to a recent study by the Institute on Taxation and Economic Policy, if all of Trump's so-called America First policies are enacted, including his tariffs, which he spoke a lot about tonight, the bottom 95% of Americans will see their taxes go up, while the richest 5% in our country will see their taxes go down.
Oh, hey.
Way down.
I just
Tonight,
mentioned that.
in so many
Crazy.
words,
I showed the chart. I did the thing.
Beautiful budget. Do you know what's really in it? this budget would cut Medicaid by $880 billion. Oh, I guess Trump forgot to talk about that. $880 billion cut in Medicaid. According to one estimate, it means that up to 36 million Americans, including millions of children, would be thrown off the health insurance they have. Hey, a 90-minute speech tonight, not one word about throwing millions of kids off of the health insurance they have.
Not
when
one word.
Medicaid drastically means that nursing homes that receive 2/3 of their funding from Medicaid will either have to shut down, lay off workers, or significantly scale back the services they provide seniors. Yeah, I didn't hear that from Trump tonight either.
Nope.
It would be a devastating blow
Didn't do
if
that.
he cuts the Medicaid for the 32 million Americans who get their health care at community health centers. And
We
it's
did
not
get a
just-
bunch of lies and stupid bullshit. Like I mentioned before, the only thing that the Republicans will ever do, conservatives in general, distract, never talk about the actual fucking issues. They'll talk about like a bunch of stupid bullshit, which is in the culture war fucking nonsense. There's been God knows how many fucking endless amounts of videos. I even talked about them, like the alt-left pipeline that Ryan White fucking made. Mentioned this. Jimmy the Giant's fucking video talked about this as well. Because again, if conservatives are honest in their fucking beliefs, they know, broadly speaking, that they are wildly unpopular and they would not fucking succeed. People would not want to vote for them. So they have to distract and never actually talk about what they believe. Because if you get a conservative to actually talk about what they believe, you know instantaneously as any average person, like, oh, this person just fucking hates my guts.
Just Medicaid that Trump's budget would cut. It would also cut nutrition assistance by at least $230 billion.
Yep,
Now, what do you
it's
think about
cut
that?
snap.
And can you imagine the billionaire class, people who can support their families? Some of these guys have tens of billions of dollars. Support their families for the next 10 generations, 50 generations. People who live in incredible opulence. People who own their own jet planes. They own their own private islands. They own their own spaceships. Trying to get tax breaks by taking food out of the
Love
mouths of
spaceships.
low-income kids. That truly is disgusting. What we are seeing is the Robin Hood principle in reverse, taking from the poor and giving to the rich and the very, very rich. And here is something else Trump has been doing. For the past several weeks, he and his good friend Elon Musk, who was up there in the audience tonight, have been throwing hundreds of thousands of federal employees off their jobs. Now,
True.
I know some of you are saying, well, that's too bad, but that's the federal government, not me. It's not me, it's just those guys who work for the federal government. But I want you to think about this. Think about it for a moment. If Musk and his friends can arbitrarily throw federal workers out on the street today, what do you think that Musk and his fellow billionaires will be doing tomorrow when artificial intelligence and robotics explode in this country? Do you
That's a pretty good question to ask there, Bernie. Yeah, that is an interesting question to posit out there to your almost 100,000 concurrent viewers. A video that's probably going to get millions of hits, millions of views. That's an interesting fucking question to posit. I wonder what's going to happen to those people. You should ask yourself those questions. Why is the billionaire class constantly talking about robotics and AI so much? Has anyone ever asked themselves that question? Conservatives looking at you. Average liberals looking at you. You probably already understand the answer to these questions, at least to a certain extent. But why? Why would they do that? Oh, it's because they don't want to pay people for jobs. They want to give you good jobs. Because again, billionaires care about one thing only. Acquiring as much money as possible and making you suffer. That is it. It's all about making you suffer.
think they'll give a damn about you and your families? No, they will treat you exactly the way they're treating federal employees today. You will be out on the street as well. But it's not only absurd
guys are
domestic
next.
policies that we've got to fight. For the first time in our 250-year history, we have a president who is turning his back on democracy and aligning us with authoritarianism. No, we must not abandon the people of Ukraine who were invaded by the Russian dictator Vladimir Putin. We must always stand for democracy, not dictatorship.
True.
Let me be very clear. Regardless of where Trump is taking this country, here's what I think and what I believe the American people want us to do. They want us to end a corrupt campaign finance system. Well, golly gee, I didn't hear Mr. Trump talk about that tonight. A corrupt campaign finance system which allows a handful of billionaires to buy elections. It is beyond crazy that someone like Elon Musk can contribute over $270 million to help get Trump elected, and then he gets to run the government. It is absurd.
That's
that
a
any
little
member of
weird,
Congress who
yeah.
Stands up to Netanyahu's brutal war in Gaza can expect to be opposed by millions of dollars in campaign contributions coming from AIPAC. The American people want us to end this disastrous Citizens United Supreme Court decision and move to the public funding of elections. Democracy is supposed to be about one person, one vote, not billionaires buying the political candidates of their choice.
That's
And
true.
further, no, we should not be giving tax breaks to billionaires. That's not what we should be doing. We must demand that the wealthiest people in this country start paying their fair share of taxes. We must raise the federal minimum wage of $7.25 an hour to a living wage of at least $17 an hour. We must make it easier for workers to join trade unions, grow the union movement, and prevent corporations from violating labor laws with impunity by passing the PRO Act, legislation that I will be introducing tomorrow.
He's just
No,
spitting.
we are not going to cut Social Security. Quite the contrary. We must expand Social Security benefits and extend its solvency for the next 75 years by scrapping the cap that allows a billionaire to pay the same amount into Social Security as a truck driver. Too many of our seniors are hurting.
Yeah, no talk about cutting the cap. If Donald Trump really cared about working families, he would have He would have mentioned some of that, but he didn't.
Today, for us to be talking about cutting Social Security. Over 20% seniors in this country living on $15,000 a year or less. Further, instead of making massive cuts to Medicaid, we must join every other major country in guaranteeing health care to all of our people through a Medicare for all single-payer program. We must also take on the greed of the pharmaceutical industry, get them to charge us what they charge other countries, reducing prescription drug prices by 50%.
Yep.
At a time of a terrible housing crisis in Vermont and in every area of our country, we must build at least 4 million units of low-income and affordable housing, stop corporate landlords from jacking up rent prices, and establish a cap on rent. In a competitive global economy, we need the best educated workforce in the world. All of our young people must have the ability to get a higher education by making public colleges, trade schools, and universities tuition-free and canceling student debt.
True.
Yes, we can create millions of good-paying jobs by combating climate change and moving our energy system away from fossil fuels and into sustainable energy.
Green New Deal,
I heard a lot
baby.
talk about freedom tonight from Mr. Trump. Well, in a free society, we must absolutely guarantee that it is the women of America who control their own bodies, not the local, state, or federal governments. Now, I know, because I've heard from many of you.
Yeah, and also recently, I believe that Trump decided to sign was an executive order going after IVF again.
That there are a lot of people out there who are feeling angry and frustrated.
Party freedom.
What's going on here in Washington, D.C.
That's the Republican Party. They sure love their freedom.
Feel a bit hopeless. So let me say this. At this particular moment in history, despair is not an option.
That's true.
Giving up is not acceptable. And none of us have the privilege of hiding under the covers. The stakes are just too high. Let us never forget, real change only occurs when ordinary people stand up by the millions against oppression and injustice and fight back.
Spitting.
That is the history of the founding of our nation, when brave men and women took on the mighty, invincible British Empire. It is the history of the abolitionist movement, the history of the labor movement, the history of the civil rights movement, the women's movement, the environmental movement, and the gay rights movement. Yes, I know. The oligarchs are enormously powerful. I deal with them every day. I know that. Yes, they have endless amounts of money. Yes, they control our economy, and they own much of the media. They have enormous influence over our political system. But from the bottom of my heart, I am convinced that they can be beaten. If we stand together and not let them divide us up by the color of our skin, or where we were born, or our religion, or the language we speak, or our sexual orientation. If we bring our people together around an agenda that works for the many and not just the few, there is nothing in the world that can stop us. We can win. We will win. Let us go forward together. Thank you all very much.
There's a reason, like I said before, why that man right there, that curmudgeon old man that we all know and love, had almost 100K concurrent viewers listening to that response. And there's a reason why after 22 hours, this has about 1 million views. 1 million views. You want to know how much the Alyssa Slotkin response has? About 120,000. Peanuts in comparison. Peanuts. Democrats are not ready to meet this moment. And obviously, I don't have to go over what Trump said. He said a bunch of complete fucking nonsense. Irrelevancies. Just lied literally every 3 seconds. I would have to probably make this probably about 5 hours if I wanted to go through all of it. But then again, that's kind of the point of the flooding of the zone, as Steve Bannon said. Throw so much shit at the fucking wall that you can't combat all of it. And I've already mentioned this before with the previous videos. The Jimmy's Giant video, and even the Ryan White video. Conservatives have to do this because if they want to talk honestly about what they truly fucking believe, it would make them look really bad. Back in the day, and this was what Ryan White even mentioned, it was a genuine fucking uniparty. And the Democrats started fucking losing. And they lost their way. And now, as we all know, we have the current dog shit malaise that we have ourselves here. Thank you, Reagan and Thatcher. You fucking two stupid dipshits. For making this current situation. I've said this before and I'll say it again. Bernie would have fucking cleaned the floor with Trump in 2016. But again, thanks to the fucking goddamn useless fucking Democrats, also striving for the same corporate allegiances the Republicans are, they have to stop any form vociferously of any form of left-wing movement within the party. Because guess what? It'll affect that corporate dollars that they so want. Should go without saying. Should have gone along with Bernie instead of like dipshit Hillary Clinton. But you know. The Democrats are effectively a fucking dead party. All you can do is just hunker down, try to organize with people within your own community, build towards something that is, or try to build towards something that's going to be able to be more successful. Because again, the people from on top, they're not going to come and save you. It's up to us to do something about this.